Donald Trump and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just got eviscerated in a new report that annihilates their signature initiative. Stay with me here. This has to be seen to be believed. Welcome back to Occupied Democrats. I'm David Reddish. By now, you probably know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a crazy person who has no idea what he's doing in his government role. That should come as no big surprise to anyone that has ever heard Kennedy speak, or anyone familiar with the Trump administration, since it's basically true of anyone serving in it. Even by that standard, however, Kennedy takes advantage. Besides his heroin addiction, his glee chopping up animals, his leaving a dead bear cub in Central Park, and the brainworm that has taken up residence in his head rent-free, Kennedy, whose job it is to give the nation advice on health, had this to say earlier this month.
I don't think people should be taking advice, medical advice from me.
If you had a child today, would you vaccinate that child for measles?
For measles, probably for measles. What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant. I don't want to seem like I'm being evasive.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should be taking advice, medical advice from me.
Right, no, I got that. And I'm not asking you to give the medical advice, but would you vaccinate your child for measles?
I think if I answer that question directly, that it will seem like I'm giving advice to other people, and I don't want to be doing that.
Right. So we shouldn't take advice from Kennedy when that's kind of the whole point of his job? Is that like a disclaimer on some weight loss supplement that actually contains tapeworms or something? Actually, that might explain a lot about Kennedy if it's true. But back to the matter at hand. Earlier this month, Kennedy announced the release of the Make America Healthy Again report, a cornerstone of his work in the new administration. Take a look.
President Trump is a populist president. He's a president, he's blamed for giving money to billionaires and all this stuff. We hear about that all the time. But he is on the side of the middle class, the working class, the poor in this country, people. And I've been following, I've met every president since my uncle was president, and I've never seen a president, Democrat or Republican, that is willing to stand up to industry when it's the right thing to do, and they're willing to talk about really difficult issues and to hold his stand on those issues. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm very, very grateful to you. I've sat with industry again and again in a room with him and heard him say, we can't do that. We're going to do something different, deliver news that they didn't want to hear. So I'm grateful to this. This is a milestone. There's never in American history has the federal government taken a position on public health like this. And because of President Trump's leadership, it's not just one cabinet secretary, it's the entire government that is behind this report.
Oh, and it gets even more absurd. Stay with me here. Subsequent to that clip you just saw, which, let's face it, consisted of Kennedy mostly fluffing Donald Trump, which itself is not the healthiest of activities, Kennedy gushed about how the report had found that vaccines are ineffective, that antidepressants are ineffective, and a host of other shocking claims. There's just one big catch to it all. None of it is true. A new report by journalists Emily Kennard and Margaret Monto, published at notus.org, has revealed that the MAHA study is rife with errors and outright inaccuracies. A number of scientists cited in the report have also claimed that their work is misrepresented, dangerously so. At least 7 sources cited in the document don't even exist. So let's break down some highlights here, shall we? Epidemiologist Catherine Keyes is listed in the MAHA report as the first author of a study on anxiety in adolescents. The thing is, she didn't write the study in question and told not us as much. In fact, it's not even clear that the report that is cited even exists at all. Digital links to the study are broken, and the journal that it was supposedly published in does not have a record of it, and that's just one example. Here's another. A section that ties the media to overprescribing of drugs in children in a kind of conspiratorial theory also relies on 2 studies that do not exist. Furthermore, the author of one of those studies isn't a real person either. The listed author of another one of those fake studies denies ever even writing it. Journalists Kennard and Monto further report that the 73-page MAHA report is full of dozens of errors and broken digital links. It also misrepresents findings in actual real reports, the authors of which have denounced Kennedy's characterization of their work. Ironically, Kennedy, upon release of the report, proudly proclaimed that, quote, "Never in American history has the federal government taken a position on public health like this," unquote. It sure hasn't. Once upon a time in the United States, we trusted science, not Nepo baby grifters. We developed vaccine policies to protect the public based on real data and accepted scientific consensus even when it was unpleasant. In Kennedy and Trump's America, facts just don't matter. Science doesn't matter. What matters is their mood, and the mood of anyone who doesn't feel like accepting reality. And this could have dire consequences for the country. Already, Kennedy is cutting funds to vital agencies and recommending against time-tested vaccines. And Kennedy is releasing a report on children's health later this summer. That's scary. My medical advice, which, despite not being a medical professional, somehow carries more credibility than any given by Trump or Kennedy: listen to your doctor. Get your vaccines for your own good and for the good of your countrymen. And for the sake of your health, don't listen to anything Robert Kennedy or his brainworm have to say. Just listening to the man makes me sick. This is Occupy Democrats.